Hi there. Welcome to this Workforce Capability Framework video. My name is Alyssa Hall from Alyssa Hall Consulting, and I'm working with WorkUp Queensland around this work. And so today we want to spend a little bit of time thinking and talking about workforce capability frameworks. And WorkUp Queensland has been in this space for a little while, exploring the potential application of a workforce capability framework for the sexual assault, women's health and domestic and family violence sector for Queensland. And so as part of that, we undertook a discovery piece of work, which was really about understanding and learning what was available in terms of the evidence, what frameworks and tools might exist now, and how they might inform us moving forward. So today we want to share a little bit of that information with you in a really simple and easy to digest way. So I suppose the best place to start is what's a capability. There are many different definitions of a capability, but in its very simplest terms, a capability is the ability or abilities needed to perform a task or a role or a job. And most often that's referring to things like skills, knowledge, abilities, attributes, all terms you would be really familiar with. Capability is a more dynamic and future focused than competency. And this is a really nice quote that resonated with us in thinking about what a capability meant. So a capability isn't just about being able to perform something or not. It's about being able to perform it in the right way. So a capability is being able to undertake an activity couched in the right attitudes, values, and being able to apply the knowledge, use the skills, and practice ethically. So it very much has an application lens. And then extending that definition or that intention around capability to a framework. Again, this quote appeals to us greatly in terms of understanding it in a simple way. A capability framework sets out how individuals and organisations need to adapt, grow and improve. So it has a here and now application component, but very much it has a growth, adaptability, development lens around it as well. So capability frameworks are a way to articulate required knowledge and behaviour at different levels. And you'll hear us talking about knowledge and behaviour as opposed to just skills. And that again is thinking about an application lens. So we're talking about demonstrated knowledge or observable behaviour. So things that you can see. So not just having the skills, but using them. So capability frameworks are also a way to create a shared understanding and language of key concepts and practices. So broader than an organisation, certainly within an organisation, but broader than that as well. They're a way to clarify expectations for workers along a continuum or a pathway. So the ability to think about, if I want to get to here on my career pathway and I'm currently here, what are the capabilities that I need to develop or extend or understand? What are the areas of improvement? So this should help to inform that very clearly. Capability frameworks provide a foundation to hang other workforce strategies off, so they form as an anchor, if you like, so that a whole range of other strategies can then sit and be developed. And as we mentioned, they take a future-focused and long-term view. So I just want to share with you now a little bit of the summary, I suppose, of the evidence in terms of workforce capability frameworks. So the key messages really. The first one is that they're able to be tailored to different contexts. So that's different organisations, different sectors, different industries. They can work, they can do that in a range of different ways, and often by using appropriate language, but also understanding the broader context. So are there compliance mechanisms? What's the makeup of the sector? How do things work in terms of geography and the size of organisations? So that they're around aligning to the operating context, but also using sector language to ensure that they are tailored. It was very clear from looking at capability frameworks that it's quite a challenge to balance the breadth and depth and utility and simplicity. So making a framework that's easy to use and meaningful is quite a challenge, and quite often because they're trying to appeal to a great many audiences. So not losing nuance is quite tricky to then also ensure it's very simple. It was quite a challenge that you could pick up in looking at the frameworks. A capability framework or a resource is one that should live and evolve. So it's conceivable, and you can see from the literature that frameworks often have an initial output, and then perhaps there's another version, or specialty capabilities may then be designed to sit alongside, or more tools are developed to support them so they can live. Tools to support the implementation of capability frameworks was also very clear that there was a requirement for that to be prioritised. Some did, some didn't. It certainly was clear that those that had tools as part of their development or came at the back end had a much greater return of being able to be used. They are nearly always multi-purpose with multiple audience, which we've referred to a little bit earlier. So that's a challenge, obviously, that they're trying to serve multiple masters. Frameworks complement and support standards and other compliance mechanisms. So we looked at over 60 frameworks, there are many more, and all of those operated in a context where there were other compliance mechanisms, standards, accreditation mechanisms. So frameworks are designed to complement those, add value to organisations in trying to comply and unpack those requirements. They're not around duplicating those. And lastly, they draw out what's common and they emphasise and strengthen them. So it's around raising the profile of those very core capabilities so that they can be, one, clear, but also we're able to advocate for what's required. These are some examples. As I mentioned, there's a great many that exist in public service, in education sectors and human services. The ones over on the right-hand side, the two orange and the black, are the only ones that we could identify that were family violence or sexual assault women's health specific. The black one is New Zealand, the other two are in Victoria. Many of these frameworks are in Victoria. All the ones on the screen are human services related. And there, if you're wanting to have a little bit of a look at some more, you can access those online fairly easily. Both of the family violence ones are very broad. They support not just specialist family violence, sexual assault, women's health workforces, but actually they talk about any workforce that intersects, which as you would realise is a great breadth of workforces. So again, a very broad take on a capability framework. But it's really to give you a sense that there are frameworks that can inform us moving forward. Regardless of the framework, in every framework that we looked at, they essentially had very similar core components. And they're in the purple here. So they had capability groups, and again, they could be called a great many different terms were used, domains, groups, streams, areas. But essentially, they had headline groups. They were then unwrapped in capabilities, unpacked into capabilities, so whether that's called knowledge or supporting capabilities, and they were then unpacked in indicators, so skills and descriptors. And that all happened over a range of workforce levels. They're all very similar in that context. In the red there, I've outlined some of the additional components that you could find. So specialist capabilities or technical capabilities, personal attributes matrices, values, principles. And the general rule of thumb in looking at these was the more levels and layers it had, the more complex it felt and kind of the less user-friendly it felt. So again, a balance to really make sure you have the required content for it to be meaningful, but it can still be simple. So that gives you a little bit of a sense of the structure, really. So thinking about why we would develop a workforce capability frameworks, and there are a range of reasons. These are the key ones. In response to the lack of resources to support organisations to attract, retain and manage their workforce, and by resources I mean practical resources, something you can pick up and really save time by using. As a way to clarify capabilities so organisation can meet demands both current and future. As a way to support small and large organisations alike. So capability frameworks are not mandatory, they are not another level of compliance or accountability. They are resources that are designed to be used and be helpful for organisations and individuals, and they are used in different ways. So small organisations with zero HR are going to be able to pick up a capability framework and use it in a practical way, write PDs, design selection criteria, inform performance appraisals, etc. Large organisations with people capability frameworks already may pick it up and use it as a way to actually highlight sector-specific capabilities and embed that in a broader people capability framework that might apply to an organisation that has a whole range of community programs. So used in different ways. Also to create a common language about the core requirements in the sector, to support advocacy, and also importantly to support mobility. And provides a tool for organisations to use in a way that best suits them, which we referred to earlier. And I think a key comment would be that you're all very aware of, with an increased focus and investment on the sector, there's also come an increased focus on standards, regulation and service quality. And whilst that's really positive in guiding quality service delivery, it has a direct impact on the capabilities needed at an organisation and an individual level. So this is around really being able to provide something to organisations to help them on that journey. So in summary, our early feedback is that a capability framework could be really useful for our workforce given the context. And so the team are now planning further engagement to develop a fit for purpose resource for Queensland's workforce. Our contact details are up on the screen, and also the link to the discovery report on the WorkUp website is there as well. We'd encourage you to have a look, and please also encourage you to get in contact if you'd like to learn more. We're really happy to have one-to-one conversations. But that's really it from us. I want to thank you very much for listening and signing off from here. Thank you.